I'm expecting to be interrupted while I'm making this minimalist or minimalist recording. It's just to say, or briefly maybe, that I haven't forgotten your expertise in trying to gently deprogram people who've turned their minds into a stale, overly salty pretzel. Um, I've seen you do that without, trying to be relentless or completely thorough by any means, but just to nudge people away from their puffed up positions, you know, and so on. However, you know me, I get tired of forensics, and there's, not much of that in my environment. One of the reasons I think is because, as you know, the drum beat is for a lot of people in effect to say, hold on, so something like that. To what exactly? The other day, for no good reason, I suspected it was very odd, but I was taken in an ambulance to Russell Hospital, ER, here. Uh, Indeed, so that I would be assaulted. I was, black and blue, and one thing or another, too. But you want to talk about entropy, or do you want to call it bad luck, or just business as usual? Uh, I have since said that things have drifted randomly, but increasingly with incidents more often, really into the realm of the basement of the Broadway shopping center in LA, or being run over by a car in Destin, Florida, having my teeth knocked out at Rescue Mission, or rather Hospitality Kitchen, I beg your pardon. Hospitality Kitchen for the loss of my teeth. And, just one thing or another for years and years and years. Now it's gotten down to so much theft that I hardly have much more than you'd find in a broom closet. And yet, there is an internet connection that I can use with my little $40 tablet that has a camera. I have it propped up by a very heavy glass measuring cup. Nothing fancy. Because nothing else is worth it. I just had 2 terabytes of pictures and other information stolen, and yet slyly the battery of a camera stolen 3.5 years ago was recharged, and the camera returned to me. Things like that. Uh, but much more has been stolen, on and on and on. Raids and raids and raids. So, the visuals look pretty good, I think. I've made some recordings here. You'd never know that this is like living in a broom closet. So, as you can imagine, the internet means a lot to me. But it's very tenuous. I can just tell you, it's very tenuous. Yesterday, jerked around by people who lied about whether they'd called ahead, and then challenged me to a debate. Nothing even approaching the worst you've ever had. A specimen in your presence. And that's happened repeatedly because they're really extra stupid around here. In terms of landing, it was a very hard landing in Alex City, and it's been that way ever since. As I say, things are drifting in a way that events that are very crude are more and more often. And so I don't want to hear anybody tell me to hold on. But sometimes people will try to do that. And I just want to thank you for not doing that. You don't. It's sometimes, I can't really often easily get into some sort of frame of mind where to sustain some of the gruesome realities that you face would be entertaining. That's not exactly my idea of entertainment, although sometimes, if there is a funny bone involved, maybe, but I really feel, pretty much canceled, and as a result, I don't have the resiliency to put up with much, and I think you know that. I think you've maintained, every now and then you've gone off into something I think of as out of focus, but generally, overall, your point of view seems to be very razor sharp, and I appreciate what you do, and I just thought I would take time out to say so explicitly. Ever since the Alaska fiasco, my failure to find legal representation and so on, people have been removing their email addresses. I have somewhere scattered around. The deck of cards I have is in several pieces. A few here, a few there because of your representation here. Now, I do say that, there's no other interpretation but that people who are responsible are not pulling strings to be rid of those who torment me. Instead, they have a cosmic view of priorities, and obviously my teeth or anything else don't count the way I would prefer. And to say so is to say, oh, well then, don't I realize the big picture? Well, I guess I don't, and I have to be patronized? I'll say it one more time. I do understand what slavery is, and those who don't understand string theory haven't really boned up on it, But no, that doesn't mean I'm holding you responsible. You know who I hold responsible. One way to think of this situation is in terms of what is historically known as the Bible Belt, the deep south of America. That would be one way to refer to, Bull Connor and George Wallace and people who don't do any better than that. They do not do any better than that. And that is not to say that that's all that they can't do. They can't figure out the issues that they're infamous for. I would urge you to understand that their failure is more comprehensive than that. They can't even navigate through New Orleans or Nevada or Santa's workshop. They are failures. They are morally, intellectually, emotional, and financially kaput. Pardon my grammar, I didn't do all that correctly. But anyway, and so it is, Now then, if you want to throw me under the bus, which is what I say remember I'm not talking about you specifically. If people want to throw me under the bus, Where else but in the Deep South? Um, Help is not on the way. If I'm feeling any better, it's because I know that several have said they estimate another 3 years. Hallelujah. This nightmare will end soon. Probably not without pain, but anyway, it will end. That's all. And anybody gets started on something else, I just push a button. In terms of flesh and blood, I'm just always up against a terrible set of options that are exercised in ways that make me miserable. I won't be looking for any relief beyond this room. That doesn't mean I won't be jerked around. But the days for anything different from what you can offer, I think are reasonably saying rather, passé. I enjoy good programming. I do not enjoy some sort of malarkey about the future. And most people who are in trouble or have been in trouble or whatever, they'll tell you the thing to do is live in the present, not the future. As you know, something called Christianity has always tried to bamboozle people into working hard all their lives for a reward in heaven. I don't believe that I'll ever overcome the fact that being destitute and thought of as garbage turns out to be a full-time job. It's like dog paddling for 60 years. You get mighty tired. You can't swim to any particular rest. I'm kept that way dog paddling. There isn't any rest. And if people fly overhead saying through a megaphone, "Help is on the way, hold on," I think of that as just another agony. I'd rather not hear it. So, this is my message. Thank you, Alex, for all that you do and for not getting worried about what you can't do, and for offering some solace, some relief from what most people do. Now then, on the matter of the data, you don't know how many people have seen my movies or whatever. Only a few people do. Or when something is recorded by anybody, or how many times they are viewed, or anything. It just, all of that is fanciful. Well, this is recorded, for what it's worth, ending just after 7:15 a.m., Wednesday, August the 27th. And let me see. Where's that funny little button that turns this thing around? Well, I don't see it, but anyway, that's okay. I'll let that go. You can see, the bottom of the glass measuring cup, which is the heavy thing, paperweight here, and then conveniently enough, I just happened to put one of the headsets there. Minimalist graphics. Yeah, it's also true, of course, that some people can't understand where I get my information. I'm not going to spill all the beans, but I've offered some indication, and others have too. But I can't change the fact that other people don't share what some of us do. It's true also that I feel less inclined to try for much because basically, Alex, I am really worn out. I don't have any energy for anything. I wish I could say something else, even maybe just to substantiate that. But I'm twisting in the wind, I'll put it that way. And gale fuller breezes have me in the basement of Broadway every day, except for sometimes the internet that gets my mind off some troubles sometimes. Okay, that's all. I'm not interrupted today. Soon the medications will be brought, but I don't know when I'll upload this. Sometime fairly soon, I would say. Bye for now.